And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a party game from R&R Games called Get a Life, which is the lifestyle game, the game of second chances. Okay, actually, it's kind of a variant on the whole apples to apples theme, but instead of giving someone one card, I want to know, would you rather live in the Grand Canyon in a dome house and have a parasail to travel on and live with your sibling and your occupation as a concert violinist? Or would you rather live in Sicily in a tree fort, your transportation is a jumbo jet, you live with a robot, and your job, librarian? Which of those would you rather have? Or which of those do you think is the worst? Maybe you live in Amsterdam in a brownstone house, and you drive a race car, and you live with some koi goldfish, and your job is an astronaut. Okay, that's the whole point of this game. Let me give you a quick rundown of how it plays, and I'll be back. In this game, you are trying to make the perfect or worst lifestyle for someone. There are 5 decks: accommodation, transportation, occupation, companion, and location. Each person is dealt one of those cards. So let's say I'm dealt, these are the 5 cards that I'm dealt. And one person is going to be the target. The game is going to take place for everyone that is the target twice. So that target is going to pick 2 things. So maybe they say location and accommodation. So my location is Rome, and you live in a mud hut in Rome. The other 3 cards are kept secret. Each person is also dealt 3 of these Get a Life cards. And then we go around the table 3 times. Each person has a choice during each time you go around the table to play a card and do whatever it says, or discard a card from the hand and do nothing. So here I can say, all players pass their accommodation card, choose to pass left or right. I say, okay, we're passing to the left. I pass this to this person. The person over here gives me theirs, which happens to be a palace. And then the next time it comes around to me, maybe I say, trade a card of any category with the player to your right. I say, I don't want this Rome location. I'd rather have your location, which happened to be Death Valley. I don't know why I would have done that. And maybe someone else plays a card and I say, block. You can't do that. Or if no one plays a card like that, on my next turn I say, I'm just passing. Once everyone's done that, then each player is going to take one of these cards, and at the same time, we're going to reveal whether we think ours is the best or the worst. Now, if you're the only person who says yours is the best or the worst, then you automatically get a chip. Huzzah! If, however, there's multiple people, then you reveal them. The target looks at them. So in mine, you're a boxer, your companion's a puka, your transportation is a city bus, and you live in Death Valley in a palace. And maybe another person says you live in a log cabin in Sydney. Your companion is a butler. You have a go-kart for transportation, and your job is in food service. So then someone has to pick between them. If it's the best, they pick between all the bests, and if there's worst, they pick between all the worsts, and each person who wins gets a chip. Then it passes to the next person, and once everyone's been a target twice, whoever has the most chips is the winner. And that's basically the game. And I think this is one of those situations where I'll say, did you like what you just saw? Because that's going to determine whether you like the game or not. Some people like the whole apples to apples thing, where everyone plays cards and one person picks who's the best. There are some concerns I have with this. First of all, this whole play these cards and move things around, that's kind of interesting, but it adds a huge chunk of randomness to the game. In essence, I could just play these cards because someone's going to switch stuff with me anyway, and I don't want to get too tied to it. When it comes to the end, I have to look at it and say, is this the best or the worst? And usually there is no best or worst. It's just that there's one thing that the person might not like. Like, I live in a palace in Australia, and I have a job as let me find a good job here, a photographer, and I have a go-kart for transportation, and then the person that I live with is my, a pig. oh, well, everything was good till you got to that point. Why would I want to live with a pig? Or why would I want to live with maybe my parents? That kind of makes the lifestyle not as exciting anymore. So that's kind of how that often works. Or you have a really terrible lifestyle. I live in a mud hut in Death Valley, but I ride in a jumbo jet. Well, that's pretty cool that you have your own jumbo jet. So there's a lot of this, and I think with storytelling and stuff, I think some groups are going to really have fun with this. In fact, I've seen that. Other groups are going to be like, oh, okay, it's okay. And I almost wish there was maybe a few more cards. Now, the combinations of cards is endless, and there's really a lot there. This is a very light party game. This is the kind of party game that I would buy for maybe people who don't play many games, and I think they would really get into it. The storytelling aspect is fun. The pictures are well done. The idea is cool, but it's a little random. And it also has that possibility, a possibility I deplore if you do it, but where I don't pick someone's because I know that they'll win if I pick it. And since you know who's put out what, that can be somewhat problematic. I guess you could have someone leave the room and then just have piles in there. That might work better. But anyway, that's Get a Life.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!